Hi, this is Isabel Litzler, the place to be to develop your skills and grow your potential. So, one thing that's going to make a huge difference in your life is your self confidence. You probably noticed around you people who have more self confidence do better overall. And you think, when was the last time where you saw someone around you do something, whether it's personal or business, where they just went for something or they just reached out for what it was they were looking for, and you thought, how did they do this? How did they dare do this? I would be completely frozen just to go and ask for something or talk to this person. So, really, it makes a huge difference in your life when you're able to go from wanting, dreaming of something and actually making it happen. And usually it makes the difference between the two categories of people, the ones that do take the confidence and go for something and succeed, and the ones that are always going to be in regrets and hoping and praying that it happens for them, but because they're not moving and they're not taking their chance, it just doesn't happen. So confidence is a huge asset in leveling up to whatever it is that you're looking for in your life. So I wanted to share with you 3 tips, and really it's progressive, on how you can enhance being a bit more confident and therefore get your goals. So the first thing, it really starts with what I call the alpha behavior. And by that I mean, we're all familiar with alpha, meaning it's the attitude of go-getter. They're usually the head of the companies and they're the people that always move forward, etc. So I thought, well, let's try to identify or analyze what it is that these people do that makes them successful, or brings this self-confidence. So I really was able to break this down by different behaviors. So the first behavior that I've seen, and it's really something you see with athletes, is that they never give up. So typically, if you're a sports athlete, you fail once, you fail twice in your performance, but you always train more and you double up. Someone that actually is taking the sports example is Arnold Schwarzenegger. He always talked about how he trained over and over and over again to build up the muscle strength and become Mr. Universe. And then he used that actually later on in his acting life and his political life. So really that whole thing about it's the sports, really, it comes from the sports world. The sporting world is about this, I would say, this grasp and this gut that people have, that they never give up. So you find that in the sporting world, and it's really now used also in coaching, actually, in the business world. So this idea of not giving up, trying harder and trying again until you get it, so enhancing your results. Number 2 is that successful people, in terms of building this mindset of daring and self-confidence, is that they tend to be well surrounded. So they have people around them who encourage them, and that's what you see actually in the education world. And it's actually a study that was done where kids that are always told that they're not good enough and they didn't do well, they will actually showcase that. And the kids that are told, you're great and everything, they're going to do better. So that's actually proven. It's been tested that whatever you're told, that's what you become. So that's why it's so important to be surrounded by great people who are encouraging you, telling you how great you are, because that's going to improve your mindset a lot. So that's number 2. Number 3 is build your own life, and this is something I'm personally very fond of, because I'm actually not so much of a being surrounded, in parties and taking photos and all that. I like to do some of that once in a while, but I'm more of an internal person. So I'm very happy and content to be at home and to do the things that I enjoy at home, and to do maybe activities that some people would find very boring, or the self-reflection, doing yoga and all these things that a lot of people might find boring. I actually find it very encouraging, very strength building, etc. So I find that even people I admire, whether it be online or in person, they're people who are very solitary. They tend to do their own thing. They don't need to have appreciation from others. They don't need to be told what to do. They don't need this validation that I really don't like personally. Those people will always need to have, people admire them all the time so that they exist. I find that if you're happy with yourself, that's really where it starts. So building your own life, being happy with what you have, and especially now that we can't necessarily meet so much in person, you've been really, really pushed in a way to like yourself, to like your own company, because you spend a lot of time on your own. The next thing in terms of building the behaviors towards self-confidence is learning how to say no from an early point in your life, especially if you come from a family or a group of people of yes sayers or pleasers. It's hard, especially as women, and I think that's probably one of the things that are difficult to overcome. We're told to be nice girls, to do things for our parents when we're young. And so we always have this taking care of other type of, I would say that's something that's expected, that we take care of others, we're good to others, we're nurturing, etc. This is very female or feminine. So actually this can be also a burden when you try to move towards being your own person, being your own point of origin. You know what I was saying, being happy with yourself. So when you're building your own character and you're trying to go out to the world and build your own self-esteem, it's going to be difficult if you have this little voice that says, oh, you need to do this for this person and that for this person, and in your job you need to work until midnight because people count on you, and that's what you're supposed to do, etc. Well, by the way, it's not the case, and that's another story for another time. But really, we have this thing where we're supposed to do things for others to validate our life. So learning how to say no is going to be huge. And finally, working towards excellence, because when you're building, and that's what I tell people when they start coaching with me, is do things that are going to build your image and your expertise in your field, and the default of that will be that you see people come to you. So you don't have to go out to the world and try to chase people down for attention in terms of sending your applications, your resume, and getting to know people. Rather than chasing people, build something of value that people will be interested in. So if you've built, for example, you wrote a blog article that you spent, I don't know, a month to put together, and you've done extensive research on it, and you've done all these things, and now you put it out to the world, well, people will start reading it and start commenting and writing to you, and that's how you attract people to you. So, and you become more, your self-confidence is higher because it's for a good reason that they contact you. So you're not out there trying to connect with people, but then you feel like, well, I don't know what to say. Well, it's because you haven't built anything that you're proud of that you can use when you connect with these people. Whereas if you put a blog article out there and people start commenting on it and sending you questions, you feel that, wow, you built something that people want to know more of. So it's going to be this bridge between you and them. And they connected with you also because of your intellect, because of your creation potential, not just because, I don't know, you said something funny to them and they just replied and yeah, that's it. So you're actually building something a little bit more long-term and of value out there. So work towards excellence. The second piece, then, once you build this mindset, you follow these tips that I've just given you, and you start, practicing that, and you're a bit more confident with yourself, then you can go out to network and now understand why you're doing what you're doing, why it's important, what it is that you want to put out to the world, and then you start attracting a network that's going to resonate with you, which is also better than just going at, okay, let me go on LinkedIn and try to connect with people, whoever I find out there. So you actually have a better network because they resonate with your message. Birds of the same feather tend to flock together. So let's say in another video I talked about sustainability. Let's say you've written about the topic and you're big on sustainability. Well, probably you will attract people who also work in this sector and want to know more about it. So immediately there's a common ground there. So think about developing also your curiosity, because that's also going to be very attractive for your network, that you're curious, you want to know more about them. People like when you're interested in them in general, or you ask questions. And become this go-to expert in your field. So build this expertise, go to courses, work on your potential, on increasing this potential. So if you're in marketing, in digital marketing, I also talked about this in another video, which is a big trend. Well, what can you do, to become an expert there? Which books could you read, or which people could you meet and interview? Could you do an interview online that you share? So by doing all these things, you realize little by little how you build your profile and you become somebody. That's how you become somebody. And by becoming somebody, you also attract people who became somebodies. So, and you will have a better circle of people around you. So you're starting to build this virtuous circle where excellence attracts excellence. You see what I mean? It becomes this thing. So number 3, small wins always will build towards the bigger win. So no one started, and it's a little bit close to what I was saying earlier. When you look at sports athletes, or if I go back to Arnold Schwarzenegger, which actually started from scratch and built up his profile also. You take these people and you look at what they were at the beginning. Most of the time they were very shy. They didn't have a excellence in a lot of things. They started from scratch, but you see how little by little they had, maybe they won one championship, and then they won a second one and a third one, and then they won the big thing. And so you see, it's always little by little. It's never that you see someone, they just started a video on YouTube on Monday and by Friday they're a multimillionaire. It doesn't happen that way. I mean, I know that with social media you can really increase your visibility and get really big successes, but it's always, at least some months or even sometimes years. The big social media personalities, everyone, they always start with maybe a small show or a few videos, and they get more attraction, little by little. And at some point they really have, maybe 1 million followers, but it doesn't happen overnight. So you have to keep that in mind, that even if you do a small action with a small win, celebrate that, because it's your first step. And then you will have positive feedback, and then you start something else, a second action, then you get a second win, and then you start again, and you will see after a while it starts coming together. So because all these wins put together will really be something that you've achieved from beginning to end, and then you can be proud of that. You can say, I've done this, with my own potential, of course getting support maybe from other people, but in the end, it's your success. And if it's your success, then you can be proud of it. That's going to be huge for your self-confidence. Because self-confidence is really, you can't be self-confident if you haven't done anything in the world. So self-confidence comes from problems that you've solved, actions that you took that were successful. And so you have to do, basically. That's what it comes down to. You can't have self-confidence without doing anything. It's not going to work. So the secret there is that you have to take some actions, even if they're very small ones, and the more of those little baby actions that you take, you will see after a while that you have some huge successes. So as usual, feel free to comment below. Let me know how you were able to develop maybe your self-confidence. What do you think you're still lacking even after watching this video? Where do you think you still need help? What's taking you back? Also link to another video that I just shared about the Swiss trends. Where do you think you still need help to understand the Swiss market better? Okay, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.